This plant came back. I cut it down to 8 inches, left it alone for the rest of the season. Didn't water it, didn't feed it, basically forgot it existed. Spring rolls around and it's back. Bigger than before, more blooms than the first year. And the thing is, I wasn't trying to test it. I just thought it was dead. So here's the thing about Clematis. It has this reputation for being difficult, finicky, fragile. The kind of plant you buy at the garden center, bring home excited, and then watch slowly decline for 6 weeks until you quietly pull it out and pretend it never happened. I've been there, more than once. First time I grew one, gorgeous purple blooms in the pot at the store. Got it home, planted it, watched it wilt within a week. I assumed I'd done something wrong. Watered it more, watched it get worse. Turns out I'd done several things wrong, but not the things I thought. The mistakes that kill Clematis are almost never the obvious ones. They're quiet, invisible, things you'd never think to question because they seem like normal gardening logic. And once you know them, and there are 5 specific ones, this plant becomes almost impossible to kill. That's not me being dramatic. I've genuinely neglected this vine for stretches that would finish off most garden plants. It just keeps coming back. Stick around. I'm going to walk through all 5, and I'll tell you up front, secret number 4 is the one that changed everything for me. Most people never figure that one out. If you want more stuff like this, plants that actually survive real gardeners, you can subscribe. I post this kind of thing a lot. Okay, secret number 1, and this is the one that almost nobody does when they first plant Clematis because it goes against every gardening instinct you have. You need to plant it deep, not just at soil level, not even slightly below. 2 to 3 nodes, that's the little bumps on the stem where leaves branch off, buried completely underground. I know, that sounds wrong. When I first read this, I thought whoever wrote it had made a typo. You bury the stem on purpose? But here's why it matters. Clematis has this thing called clematis wilt, and I'll get to that properly in a minute. But basically, the stem near the soil surface is the most vulnerable part of the plant. Fungal issues, physical damage, slugs, you name it. If that section dies and it's above ground, the whole plant goes with it. But if you've buried 2 or 3 nodes underground, the plant just regrows from below. Doesn't even notice the top died. It's basically giving the plant a backup system, underground insurance. My second Clematis, the one that came back after I cut it down, I'd planted it deep, didn't even remember doing it. When the top died back that first winter, I assumed it was gone. It wasn't. Those buried nodes just quietly pushed up new growth in April. Secret number 2. This one is a little weird when you first hear it. Clematis wants its roots cold and its head in the sun. The flowers want full sun or close to it, 6 hours minimum to bloom properly. But the root zone needs to stay cool and moist. Warm, dry roots stress the plant out in ways that look like disease, look like watering problems, look like all kinds of other things. The fix is dead simple. Mulch, a few inches of it over the root zone, or plant something low-growing right at the base, a ground cover, some annuals, anything that shades that patch of soil without competing for water. I use a flat stone sometimes, just a single paving stone laid right at the base. Keeps the soil underneath about 10 degrees cooler on a hot day. Costs nothing, takes 30 seconds. The difference in how the plant handles summer heat is noticeable. Less wilting on hot afternoons, stronger growth into fall. It's one of those things that seems too simple to matter, and then you try it and go, oh, that's actually doing something.
Secret number 3. And this is the one that got me the first time. When Clematis starts to look unhappy, leaves drooping, a bit limp, the natural response is to water it more. That's usually the wrong move. Point is, Clematis doesn't like sitting in wet soil. It wants consistent moisture, but good drainage underneath. The problem is, overwatered Clematis and underwatered Clematis look almost identical. Both droop, both look sad, both make you feel like a terrible person, which is very inconvenient. The test is simple. Stick your finger 2 inches into the soil. Still moist down there? Don't water. Walk away. Bone dry 2 inches down? Water deeply, then leave it alone again. The other thing, if you're planting in a container, drainage holes are non-negotiable. I had one in a pot with borderline drainage for about a month. The roots were sitting in just enough moisture to stay stressed. Moved it to a proper draining pot, and it bounced back within 2 weeks. Soil that drains well but holds some moisture is the sweet spot. Mix in some grit or perlite if your soil is heavy clay. That one change alone fixes a huge percentage of clematis problems. Okay, real quick. I want to say something about clematis that I think gets missed in most of the growing guides. This plant is not fragile. Like, genuinely not fragile. It survived being cut to 8 inches and forgotten. It's come back from drought, from waterlogging, from a whole season of neglect. The reason people think it's hard to grow is because they make these specific mistakes and don't know why the plant is struggling. Once you stop making them, it becomes one of the more forgiving things in the garden. 2 more secrets to go, and the next one, pruning, is where most people completely lose the plot. Secret number 4. And I said earlier this was the one that changed everything, and I mean it. Here's the problem with clematis pruning advice. All guides tell you to prune it, almost none of them tell you when, and it turns out the when depends entirely on which type of clematis you have. Point is, there are 3 pruning groups. Group 1 clematis bloom on old wood, stems from last year. If you cut those down in autumn or early spring, you've just cut off all your flowers. You'll get a healthy plant and 0 blooms, all season. Very frustrating. Group 2 bloom on both old and new wood. Light tidy up in early spring, don't go heavy. Group 3, and this is the most common type people buy, bloom on new wood only. These ones you cut hard in early spring, down to about a foot from the ground. That sounds brutal. It looks brutal. Stubs sticking out of the soil, nothing else visible. But this is exactly what the plant wants. It comes back with fresh, vigorous stems that bloom heavily all summer. The issue is, most clematis don't come with the group clearly labeled, or they do and the label falls off at the garden center. Of course it does. So you have to look it up by variety name. Jack Manny, Group 3, cut it hard. Nellie Moser, Group 2, go gentle. Montana, Group 1, basically leave it alone after flowering. Find out your group once, write it on a plant label, and stick it in the soil. That's it. You'll never prune wrong again. Secret number 5. And this one, if you've ever had clematis suddenly collapse overnight, is the one you needed years ago. Clematis wilt. You walk out one morning and the whole vine is flopped. Stems hanging limp, leaves going dark, looks completely dead. Point is, I thought I'd killed mine the first time this happened, pulled it half out of the ground before I stopped and looked it up. Should have looked it up first. Here's what's actually happening. Clematis wilt is a fungal issue, Phoma clematidina, if you want the full name, and it attacks the stem at or just above soil level, blocks water movement up the plant. Everything above the infection point collapses. Looks catastrophic, usually isn't. Point is, what you do, cut the affected stems right back, all the way down past the damaged section to healthy tissue or to the ground. Remove the cut material, don't compost it. Then wait. If you plant it deep, like we talked about in Secret 1, the plant almost always regrows from those buried nodes. Point is, that's why deep planting matters so much. The 2 secrets connect. Wilt can't kill a clematis that has healthy growth points underground. It just sets it back for a season. The other thing, wilt is more common in young plants in their first year or 2. Established clematis are much less vulnerable. So if yours wilted as a new plant, that doesn't mean it'll keep happening. Most people pull the plant out right when it's about to prove it can recover.
So let's bring this back to where we started. That plant I cut down, left alone, thought was dead. Deep planting, that's why it survived the wilt. Group 3 pruning,
That's why cutting it hard made it come back stronger. Cool roots, decent drainage, no overwatering. That's why it came back at all, instead of rotting in the ground over winter. Every single one of those 5 secrets was doing something. I just didn't know it at the time. Clematis is not a difficult plant. It's a misunderstood one. Get these 5 things right and you basically can't kill it. Neglect it, forget to water it for a couple weeks, it'll still be there in spring. If this helped, hit like and drop your clematis variety in the comments. I'm curious what people are growing and whether you've run into wilt before. And if you want to go deeper on climbing plants that basically run themselves, I've got another video coming on the ones that require almost zero intervention once they're established. That one's next. See you there.